Have you ever wondered why your kids might not like you as much as you thought they might? Or prayed to God for a way to be able to connect with the most favorite people in the world? Well, I know what that's like. I'm Bonnie Leota, and we are the administrators for this group, Harmonious Parenting, and we're going to bring you secrets, time tested principles. We call them secrets because nobody knows about them, but really, they're time tested principles for cooperation. And isn't that all what we've dreamed of when we became parents? So, as we're waiting for people to join us tonight, I'm Bonnie Leota. I come from a background of personal development. And when I say that, at the age of 21, I read a book called Think and Grow Rich. And in that book, I learned that it didn't matter what your education was. It didn't matter where you came from. It didn't matter what city you lived in, that you could set a goal. If you had a burning desire, you could create a plan, go through obstacles, be persistent, believe in yourself, and you could create anything in the world. And I'm like, oh my God, if I knew what was in this book when I was a child, I would never have done all the stupid, horrific things I did as a teenager. We call them teenager rebellion. And so that was back in 1994. And 18 years later, 18 years into my personal development, business, career, leadership, I was an award winning leader, traveling all over the world, speaking to thousands of people at a time, telling them that they were born perfect, but often conditioned into mediocrity. And I was going home and crying in my bathroom because I was conditioning my kids into mediocrity and I had no idea what the heck to do. If you're with me on this, give me a comment. Did you dream of having close connected relationships with your kids? Did you think that they would love you and you would love them and you would tell them how special they were and you would buy them all these fancy things so that they could be cool in school? And anyway, if you dreamed any of this as a parent, give me a comment as Tom takes just a minute to introduce himself.
My name's Thomas Leota. I've had the privilege and honor to be around kids, which is the opposite of adults, all my life. Started off with Little League Baseball right out of high school. Got into martial arts. Was able to excel pretty well there. Got in a chance to play the most amazing job any kid would love, which was to play video games as a gameplay counselor for Nintendo. Talked to 144,000 kids around the world. Taught kids in the martial arts when I got my first black belt in 1994. And I made a decision right then that there was really nobody successful that I could see that always said yes to kids. Just give them an inch, take a mile. And never saw anybody that was successful that always telling them no, because the kids would just learn to do it behind their back or when they weren't looking or somewhere else. So there was a pivotal moment right then that was somewhere between yes and no. And we call it, may I be like you? May I do what you do? Could I be exactly like you? One day, do it all by myself without you. So I went on a guiding. And what I mean by this is when I came out through the martial arts that most kids couldn't come through is you didn't get whacked with the bamboo stick was a perfect executed class. So I vouched at that day to do the opposite of anything negative. Have no clue what that looks like, but opposite of anything negative to raise the children in the program. And I embarked on that journey. And then it was about, what was it? We're talking 16 years later. 16 years later or so, 20 years later, when I was on a cruise ship, personal development cruise ship. And that's when I met Bonnie. And I asked her one time, I was like, are you passionate about anything? And she just said, wow. 45 minutes later, I said, yeah, this lady's passionate. And most of you know the rest of the story.
I'm passionate about breathing life into people, about human potential, about helping people believe in themselves. But my biggest dream of all was to find a way to empower the kids, because if we could empower the kids, then they would never grow up, become a 25-year-old, and then have to invest the rest of their life into like therapy or take 10 years in personal development like I did just to believe in myself. So I want to say this to you right now, Mom, Dad, if you're watching, I want to say that you were born perfectly. You were born perfect in every way, created in the image of our Creator with pure potential to be, do, and have anything. And if you have a dream inside of you, if you have a parenting dream inside of you, and you want to live with kids in peace and harmony and joy and happiness, I'm here to tell you it is possible because I've lived both ways. I've lived in fetal position on the bathroom floor while my kids were screaming outside the door, beating each other up and wrecking my home that I worked so hard for, to meeting Tom, learning the principles that he used in his after school program, which, by the way, was inducted into the Martial Arts Hall of Fame in 2004. He helped thousands of kids become, I want to say, better characters, learn things like self-control, self-discipline, responsibility, and focus. And I want to tell you that you've been taught to parent with some parenting tools that are completely off the mark. So you're perfect. Your kids are perfect. There's nothing wrong with your kids. Believe me or don't believe me. It is the truth. It is the system. It is the parenting skills that we've been taught. It's this whole idea of self-regulation. Children can't regulate their emotions. I just had somebody post 10 comments on a TikTok video telling me how children can't control their emotions and how we've got to lecture them. And this is the advice that's getting us in trouble. Okay. This is the advice that's causing disconnection between you and your children. So if you're just joining us, I want you to answer me in the comments. Do you ever wonder why your kids don't like you? Why, when you walk by them and touch them on the back, they go, "Don't touch me"? Or why, when you try to explain to them why what choice they're making is wrong, why they look at you and say, "I hate you"? Do you ever wonder why? And would you ever want the tools to create a more connected relationship with the person that you love most in this world? Share with me in the comments how you feel about that, because we're going to give you the secret tonight. We're going to give you the one thing that every parent should know and do. But this is only if you want cooperation and harmony and respect and love with your kids. And while we're waiting for the comments to come in, I want to read this. This is the voice of knowledge. This is Don Miguel Ruiz. He's the best-selling author of The Four Agreements. And when I read this, I was like, this is the cause of all oppositional defiant disorder. This is the cause of why all children hate their parents. Now, you're a parent right now, but I want you to go back and talk to the 10-year-old you. And the 10-year-old you could relate with Tom. Tom said he knew it was a good day in his class when he didn't get hit with the bamboo stick. So did you know it was a good day as a child when your parents didn't yell at you? Did you know it was a good day as a child when you didn't get in trouble at school, or you didn't get picked on, or something negative didn't happen? Is that when it was a good day for you? See, we're growing up in a world that is operating completely backwards. We're growing up in a world that is not on your side, and it's up to you to learn the rules of the game of life. Because the pharmaceutical companies, they don't want you to know the rules to the game of life. They want us all sick. They want to sell medication. Oppositional defiant disorder is over a $20 billion a year industry. Okay, just let that settle for just a minute.
You know, I love, Bonnie, how you said the word secret, maybe before many people even showed up. But what if a secret was something that we all knew when we were kids? Let's all go back elementary school and be like, okay, this is just between me and you, but don't tell Bobby over there. You see, a secret is about something. What if it could be as simple as some know, so some won't know? A secret. And what we mean by this is there's principles that will get you to the other side, better known as heaven on earth. If we're living in hell, it's the opposite. Yelling, hugs, hits, well, teamwork. So some know these because a lot of them, and talking to you moms and dads, you are in the category as you are the some that they don't want to know. Because at the end of the day, how could you build a billion-dollar industry on popping pills, better known as medication, when it could be as simple as knowing what's the missing life skill. And it is this simple.
Yeah.
But you might have to come to terms of like, well, have you graduated that the earth is round instead of flat? Have you graduated the one where the blue thing goes around the sun and the sun doesn't go around the blue thing?
Right.
Have you been able to actually give yourself permission to go, maybe the last 3 generations, when you listen to Bonnie's audiobook, you can get on the Creating Champions for Life app and just listen to it. And it gives you the history in 1946 when they planned and executed this over generations to get you here.
Yes.
I don't know if you
Oh my
graduated any
gosh.
one of those 3 yet, but if you graduated the first 2, could I impress upon you to do the third one? Go to the App Store, look up Creating Champions for Life, download it, listen to the audio book so you could know the history, how you got here. So the I don't know has got to go.
And I want to say it's free, by the way. So we're not here pushing an agenda. We're here to give you everything we've got to help your family get to the joyful side of parenting. We wake up every single day just wanting to breathe life into you because, like Rhiannon said, parenting is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. It is the hardest thing we've ever had to do when we're working with the wrong tools. Imagine if we gave you a dull axe and said, hey, go chop down the forest. This is your full-time job. And you took the axe and you started chopping up these trees with a dull axe and it wasn't working. And it wasn't working. And you're sweating and you're working day and night with this dull axe. Well, we want to give you a chainsaw. We want to give you the tools tonight to heal, unite, and empower your family so that you can wake up eventually and say, this is the best thing I've ever done. This is the most rewarding thing I've ever done. This whole parenting thing, I'm over here knitting. My kids are doing everything they're supposed to do. And yes, that is possible. That is the dream that we want you to leave here with, that we want you to have when you wake up in the morning. Not, I don't want to wake up in the morning because life is hell. So let me just read this, and then we're going to give you the tool, a tool that's going to sharpen your axe. But let me just say, the reason why people choose to work with us, because we give all our stuff away. We're all over YouTube. Go to our YouTube channel, Bonnie and Tom Leota, and watch every single video we have on YouTube. It's all there. Everything we teach is there. The reason that people come to us and work mentorship programs with us is because we're habitual beings. You've been taught how to parent by your parents, by your grandparents, by your teachers, by society, by the videos. And up until now, with Creating Champions for Life, every bit of parenting information is backwards. It's based on theory, and the theory doesn't work because if it did work, we wouldn't be here today in crisis. Our kids wouldn't be suffering with mental health issues and behavior disorders and anxiety and depression. And our parents wouldn't be self-medicating just to get through the day. So I love this so much because he says, I continued to explore my childhood memories and I discovered something happens to all of us. What happens? Knowledge happens. I can remember starting to learn words. I learn the names of every object I perceive. I learn a language, which is great. Now I can use words to ask for what I want. Months later, or maybe years later, my mind is mature enough for abstract concepts. With these concepts, something incredible happens. I start to create stories by qualifying everything. What is right or wrong? What I should or shouldn't be? What is good or bad? Beautiful or ugly? I learn from my parents not just what they say, but what they do. I learn what they say not just to me, but what they say about other people. I learn how to interact. I copy everything that I see.
Monkey see, monkey do.
If you just heard something there that sent shivers down your spine, share it in the comments. When we tell our babies, no, we don't do that. No, don't touch that. No, that's dangerous. No, we don't go on the stairs. We don't go over there. No, we don't touch the hot burner. And we spend all day kind of like protecting them. And then they turn to and you ask them something and they go, no. I copy everything that I see. Your child's behavior is mimicking you. They're mimicking you.
Can I ask you a question, Bonnie? How silly would it seem that I don't speak yet, And you just went through that whole thing. You told me no here, no there, no, 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 no. And I totally get the point. I want the moms to be validated here that yes, it might be a moral thing or an ethical thing, or most importantly, a safety thing. I get that. And if you get attacked or you feel you're attacked because of that, you're going to miss the point. So I want to validate that those are all good reasons. But as soon as I start to go, oh, I do this, and you say, no, and this, and then pretty soon you say something to me. And the first time I'm being labeled terrible too is when I mimicked what you've been telling me a staggering 400 times to one of a yes. And I say, no. And I'm looking to be praised. Look, I did it. I said no. And you tell me, don't talk to me like that. What kind of world would that make any kind of sense other than I'm confused?
Which, yes, is exactly what happens. If tonight brings you nothing more than awareness that your kids are mimicking your words, your tone, something they've seen on a TV show, their grandma, their teacher, their friend's parent, whoever it is, monkey see, monkey do. Children are born with zero idea of how the world works. Everything they do, they've learned from somebody. He goes on to say, he goes, I see my father very powerful with his strong opinions, and I want to be like him. I can hardly wait to grow up. I can hardly wait to grow up to have an opinion of my own.
That's so true.
That's what we're talking about tonight. This is so powerful. When I finally understand the language, almost everybody begins to tell me what I am. Now, what I'm talking about right here goes right hand in hand with the secret that we're giving you tonight, but we want to get this. We got to build a foundation of understanding and beliefs. The way I learn about myself is by hearing the opinions of storytellers around me. My mother creates an image of me based on what she believes I am. She tells me what I am, and I believe her. Then my father tells me what I am, and it's something completely different, but I agree with him too. Of course, each of my brothers and sisters has an opinion of me, and I agree with them. Surely they know more than I do, even though I'm the only one who lives in this physical body. None of this makes sense, but I'm having fun. Then I go to school and the teacher tells me what I am, which is still okay until she tells me the way I should be, but I am not. I agree, and the problem begins in that moment. All child defiant behavior, all disconnected adult-child relationships happens in this moment. You tell the child who they should be, but they're not that person. And then I hear the teacher say, children, you need to work hard to become a somebody, to be a success in life. The world is divided into winners and losers, and you're here to prepare yourself to become a winner. And if you work hard, perhaps you might be a somebody. Of course, all the heroes are winners. I'm a child. I'm innocent. I learned the concept of winner. I agree that I should become a winner. And that's it. The agreement is stored in my memory. At home, I hear my parents say, you have to be this way or that way to be a good boy, which means if I don't behave that way, I am not a good boy. They don't say this, but I understand this. You have to do this and that to be a good boy. Then you'll get the reward. And if you're not, you'll be punished. And oops, I'm too small. They are so big. I try to rebel and I fail. They win. So I start pretending to be what I am not, to avoid the punishment, but also to get the reward. So there's one thing that every parent must know and do if you want the healing to begin. And it's something that we work with our clients on in our mentoring program. Like every Friday we come to role play because we're habitual and we've been taught our entire lives. It's been ingrained in our DNA, in our subconscious mind, the mind that has our heart beating. the mind that breathes for us while we sleep, the mind that doesn't think. Parents, our logical mind will get this tonight, but your subconscious mind is not going to get it. So I don't want you to think that we can come to a video in our group and go home and be masters at creating champions for life. And this is why. It's not because you're stupid. It's not because you can't get this. It's not because it's so difficult. It is so simple. What's the one thing we got to do, Tom?
Validate. See a little genius who's just for the first time embracing their own uniqueness. You know, when you catch them getting into the cookie jar? Wow. Well, look at you. Who's the little smart one that knows exactly where the cookies are? You validate.
You validate. So what I want from interaction, we work better, we feed off of your energy. And so while we go through a few comments, I want you to think about something that your child has done or does that you don't like. And we're telling you, you need to validate. Put it on sticky notes, put it on your computer, your mirror, your rear view mirror. I must validate my child. What are some things that they do that you don't like? I want to hear about it in the comments, okay? So, because they've never felt heard. That's right. It's heartbreaking, but there is something missing we haven't learned yet. Yes, they are angry. We never let them freely without judgment share their feelings. I love the idea of cooperation, love, and respect. It's such a tragedy to see what's happening in the world today in terms of parenting. Yes, it is. All right. It's so obvious to me now, but back when I was raising my kids, I never thought about monkey see, monkey do. Okay. I did not see it at all. And all I thought I was pushing onto my kids, what I thought was who I wanted them to be. Don't we all do this to some degree?
You know, it's been ingrained. I mean, we do a paper exercise. We call it the snowflake exercise, where we all do the same steps: fold, tear, fold, tear, fold, tear, fold, tear. And when we open it up, I have yet to this day have ever found two of them that ever match. And it's the same thing. I've yet to this day have found any two thumbprints that match. I keep checking in Guinness Book of World Records because that's probably where it would be if two of them did. You see, when we're forced into conformity, then it breaks our sacred trust of when we showed up. We had trusted advisors, better known as mom and dad. And the sacred contract is they would see me beginning to say, I'm ready to learn with monkey see. And you guessed it, monkey do. Of course, I'm not going to be able to do anything correct, perfect, or right. That's called Captain Obvious. But when I actually started to grab a toy, or I started to put my hands here or do that, you were going, oh, well, look at you. I see how you did it. You're starting to mimic. Well, let me show you how it's done, like a universal formula. We're talking something as simple as ice, tray, water, freezer. That's a universal principle. That's a formula. Now, what kind of tray or what type of water or liquid or what type of freezer unit that you're using, you see, when you can let go and let God happen with those ideas, then this whole dictation going, you're not doing it the way you're supposed to. Because when we would open up that full tear exercise, we just had a new client just sign up just last week. And when she went through it, before she opened it up, she goes, I hope I did it correct. You can see, as soon as you open them up and you start to see that mine doesn't quite look the same as theirs.
Yeah.
You start to go, oh, teacher's right, mine's, and you guessed it, wrong. When we can shatter that and just go, wow, look at you. Look what you did.
Exactly.
With validation. Yes, there's lots more that is after that. But do you remember your favorite teacher that saw you?
Can you just deal with that? Sorry, we're
Oh,
multitasking. All right, but I'm going to deal with a couple of these comments and then we're going to show you how you can validate things that you don't like. Because, of course, here's the thing that we all must realize as we're the like, well, let me just ask this. Who's the older one? Put in the comments. Who's the older one? Who's the older one? Who decided to have children in the first place? Who is or should be the leader in the home? If you've got an answer, I want to hear from you. Who should be the leader in the home?
yeah.
Is there?
They will just click right into place.
Yeah, okay. Good. Sorry, guys. All right. So look for the answer. So Tom, go through these the comments that we've been given here and
All right,
show them how to validate.
Go right through here. Where are we at here? Let's see. I did not see it all. It was a pushing the kids. Push it on my kid. Okay, every time I heard that passage, really makes me stop and think before I tell my little ones who or what they are. Yeah, I love this one here. We call it a reframe. So like you can't like laugh and cry at the same time. You can't think positive and negative at the same time. So when you see the little kids doing something, yeah, they might not know how to do it when and where, but you start to go, wow, I see something I don't like. I see a little genius who's now embracing their own uniqueness. And if there's any truth to that thumbprint, begin to release the dictating, bribing, and overcompensating ways and just validate and go, wow, look at that. Look at you doing it in your own unique way. It's called action. The production comes later, unless you could walk the first day and those kinds of things, right? So the next one here.
Here, I'll show you. Go down to this one. This one right here. My grandkids often run in the house. Validate.
Well, look at you there, little turbo. Who's got their little running feet going so fast? Is that you going just like, well, I don't know if I'm dating it, but anybody remember the Road Runner? Me. You see, when you can validate, the children are doing what all of us offspring are looking for. If we don't get this number one ingredient from birth, we all die. And it's called, you probably guessed it, attention. We'll do whatever it takes to get it. So when they're running, they want to say, you've been walking forever. I haven't. And I'm just now making these things go really, really fast. Did you see me? Did you see me? Did you see me? And when you start saying, hey, we don't run in the house. Well, I just going to have to be point blank with you and say, wow, you would sound so stupid to me. We don't run in. I don't do that. And I'm like, but I just did. You can't convince me that I can't do it because I'm doing it. So validating it allows the opportunity for the healing and uniting and the empowerment to begin. Validate it. Number one, or next one here.
He calls me a jerk.
That's right. And if you really want to be able to know what it is, I'm a Mr. Jerk. How did you know I was a jerk? Because there's also a part of me that's the opposite of jerk. Do you know what the opposite of jerk is? You see, they're throwing things out for a cause and effect. Do you remember when you took rocks and threw it in the water and go, ooh, look at the ripples? They're saying things which is getting, and you guessed it, attention. Calls me a jerk. Well, let me ask you this. Were you sleeping? Were you minding your own business in the kitchen and he just came by like a drive-by and ran right by and went, jerk? You see, chances are when you're imprinting, you're telling them, you're dictating without answering a question. That's the only time dictation is a positive, when you're actually answering somebody's question. But if you're telling them stuff without validating and he calls you a jerk, well, everything's working perfectly. I'd probably call you a jerk too if you're telling me what I'm not doing correct.
Can I share what's going on in the mind of the kids when they're calling us jerks, or worse yet, spitting in our face is what was going to come out of my mouth? Miguel goes on to say, I'm not the way that I should be. It's not okay to be me. So this is where we got to really look in the mirror as parents and know that the parenting tools that we've been given in the past is creating the jerk to come out. The parenting tools we've been given in the past, well, you know what? We don't run in the house. No, that's bad. That's wrong. It all they hear is it's not okay to be me because we haven't taken the time to actually show them where they can run. So
Mm.
Tom's saying validate what they're doing. Every child, when they take an action, they have their own agenda. And we, as the adults in the situation, Tom calls us big kid trusted advisors because adulting is really no fun. The Bible even says we must be childlike to get into the gates of heaven. And what we're talking about here tonight is how to actually create heaven with your children. Parenting heaven versus parenting hell. And so we don't want our children to go, I'm not the way I should be. It's not okay to be me. I am not good enough. I will never be good enough because I am not perfect for my parents. If that's the way that we're making our children feel, it's going, see, thoughts create feelings. I am not worthy. I am not good enough. Nothing I ever do will be good enough. Why would I even bother trying to be good when nothing I do is good enough? Then that thought is going to give your child a feeling, and the feeling is going to create an action. And the action is going to be a name call. It's going to be lethargy. It's going to be aggressive behavior. It's going to be kicking, hitting, screaming, kicking the wall, whatever, yelling at you. All of these negative reflections back to you. This is called the law of cause and effect, really, in a sense. So, what we're helping you do with creating champions for life is we're helping you change the cause, which is you. And we're helping you, like Tom said, reframe. I see something I don't like, to I see a little genius embracing their own uniqueness. And I'm going to show my child how to do what they're doing, when and where to do it.
That's right. My grandkids are running in the house. Oh, that's right. Look at you. You have your outdoor feet going right now. See, when you can show them that this is an outdoor activity and walking like this is an indoor activity. But let me ask you there, little genius, when would you use those fast feet to run inside the house? See, we'd never tell them you can't. It's like when? Well, when there's a fire, we want you to be run fast too.
Yes, and we could teach you. We see the thing is, it's like we can't teach you all 12 principles in a video, but what we can do is just bring some awareness to what we need to know, and what we need to do is we need to validate. Everything they do. We need to validate. We need to find their motivator and validate. I see what you're doing. Now I want to give you like just a little clue. We have a 10-month-old granddaughter here. And I'm not the best at validating, but I am aware that when she's on the move for something, to let her be her and let her do her thing. And I'm realizing more and more that every moment she moves, she's got an agenda. So yesterday, like the old me, and tell me what you would do. Here she is, 10 months old, and she's climbing over this apparatus. What's the first thing that goes through your mind? There's nothing behind the couch except for, well, she tells me what she's going after here real quick.
It's got to be morals, ethics, or safety.
Yeah. So let me. The minute you see something you don't like, share in the comments. Where are you going? There's nothing back here. What I should have said is show me what you want. Oh, you want to get to the window?
Pause it. Do you see how she quickly went to, oh, there's nothing over here?
Right.
But to her, when you can start to see it through the child's eyes, that's what validating is all about, is they're seeing the world for the first time. You'd be like, ooh, there must be something over here that you see. Let me see what I can understand is like, well, what is she possibly going towards? What is it that's in that little curious George inside that is willing to go over and around or through like water to get to her goal? And she's either going to see you as the hero in her movie, or you're going to be this dumb, stupid extra. And you're either there to guide her or punish her. And in this case, she saw a crack in the window or the blinds, and she's like, wow, I found a window for the first time. Haven't never seen one of those before. But to us, that's old hat.
Yeah. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is because old me, oops, hang on. I'm gonna actually okay, I gotta stop sharing. What is this? I Uh, the old me would have stopped her from climbing over the toy. But now I know she's got an agenda. She can do it. I let her struggle a little bit and show me where she was going. I was just saying, I didn't think there was anything back there that she would go after. She very clearly showed me that they always have an agenda. They always have something going on in their mind, even though we don't understand in that moment. So to validate, so write it down. We must validate what our kids are doing. Okay, next one. The question, Nicole, is what is it that your kids do that drive you crazy that you should be validating? So this one is my daughter struggles every morning waking up and makes it really frustrating getting our morning going. My son has a hard time at drop off. How do I validate that behavior?
Well, there's a big tangled web of stuff here.
Yeah.
Because first and foremost, sounds like it's all about you. And you know those cans on the string when the car left when you got married, and ding, ling, ling, ling. That's your kids right here. So let me decipher this here with you. Daughter struggles every morning waking up because she's on your agenda that you've got to go here, 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 and here, and probably has no training, has no motive from inside to even be part of the team. That's number one. And it makes it really frustrating getting our morning going.
Right.
You see, the missing life skill here is called time. Start and finish. We need to have this done by a certain time. And see, you wouldn't just play a sport or jump out of a perfectly good airplane without a parachute and think that you can have some success and be like, well, let's talk about our feelings as we're falling, right? There's some things that are missing is that we haven't done a mock-up or a fire escape plan before you're going live into the game called we got to get up and go. You see, you've got 10, 20, 30, 40 years of lapse of like conditioning. I guarantee you didn't wake up the first time and be like, okay, I'm ready to be productive Patty. And this is part of the deal that we have to understand is that what she's doing is she's showing you that, oh, I understand why you're having a frustrated time here. I haven't taken the time to authentically show. This is like talking with duct tape on, not talking, because nobody was talking to walking. You validate her frustration as, wow, thank you so much for letting me know that I haven't taken the time yet to practice, 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 just like any sport. And then we'll have a scrimmage. And then we can do a real live game. And when you can see that validation of, wow, I haven't taken the time, she'll finally be heard, maybe for the first time.
And I want to ditto that for the son having a hard time at drop off. What we teach here at Creating Champions for Life are principles. So a little bit of role play, a little bit of internal motivation. And the worst thing that we can do is resist the behavior or fight against it. We must submit to it. Whether we like it or not, we need to submit to what's going on and have it be okay. You still got to do what you got to do. But this is why people come and they do mentorship.
And this is principle number 2, right? Parents' brain versus kids' brain. Take a moment and set your ego aside and go, how could a 5 or 10-year-old possibly know what it means to be on time as a 20, 30, 40-year-old? How can they warp forward with no practical experience and abstractly understand where we could actually go back and go, yep, I remember when I was 10 and boy, dad did a lot of yelling. Really wasn't quite sure what it was about, but we just knew to play freeze and shut our mouth. And then he stopped yelling. We can go back, but we can't expect our kids to go forward. Hence, the key has been around since the beginning of time. Demonstrate what you would like them to learn through monkey see, monkey do. Talk is cheap.
Mm. My son stays up super late and has a lifeless diet. He's 17 and a half, and I'm watching all the years of stumbling through parenting as if water's going through my fingers. Oh,
Oh,
hugs to you.
it is. And, this took time. Congratulations that it took these many years. I know it's counterintuitive. And you probably don't think I'm your best friend because I'm not here to give you fuzzy wuzzies, but I guarantee you that from the age of 2 to 17, and I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt, we're talking about 15 years of conditioning to get there. Because if you do principle number 1, knowing our role as a parent, and you got the instruction manual that somehow the store didn't bring, and you were reading it when your belly got big, and you're like, oh my gosh, it says right here that you have one purpose, which is to prepare this little genius offspring to launch out of the nest like every animal in God's kingdom, animal kingdom does. So you would have already at age 0 to 1, a list of all the life skills to demonstrate, let them practice, and be able to do it all by themselves between ages 0 to 2, 2 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, 13 to 17. And you would have followed it like clockwork. So where you're at right there, well, you bought a new truck, never changed the oil for 5 years, and wonder why we're having engine problems. That's how we got there. Now, is it too late? No. Are you willing to bite the bullet and start off? Well, he's 17, and that's physical. Mentally, he's still 2. Would I be able to actually go back and start the life skill training from 0 to 2, which means non-negotiables like wash your hands before you come to you guessed it, the dinner table. These are called natural cause and effects. There's many things that have been missed to get to this point. So this kind of question, well, let me ask it this way and see if you can answer it. You're my flight instructor. We just jumped out of a perfectly good airplane and I tap you on the shoulder. I forgot my parachute. What do I do? There's about 12 steps that we should have had in place before we got there. But at this point, what do you validate? My son stays up super late and he has a lifeless diet. I noticed that your sleeping cycle is off the charts. You sleep all day, you're up all night. Your diet is just garbage, and you validate like what he's actually doing, not with this, you're crap. No, you validate. Wow. You know what? I think I have a sincere apology. And with your permission, could I let you know that I didn't know that I didn't know? Because I just found out today, like I had spinach in my teeth, that I missed a very critical window of a set of life skills that if I would have known them, we would have been on track. And with that being said, could I have permission to make it right with you so I can prepare you? Because protecting and postponing the inevitable, I don't have to ask how well is it working. You see, in Christianity, they call that, I didn't know about Jesus. So we have a water baptism. Can I be born again? Can you start now? Yeah. That's what you got to decide. If it's not you, then who? And if it's not this, then when? If it's not now, then when? But validate that I missed a critical window, but it's never too late. And with your permission, maybe we could get your skills so you can have confidence to be able to know that, look at all the stuff I can do. I can make my bed. I can do the data and these things. And then their vision can see themselves outside the nest.
Yeah.
And that's the big part.
Yeah,
That's what
there's a lot there's a lot to that statement. Can I just say though, like probably 17 years ago when you became a mom, like me, like 26 years ago when I became a mom, I didn't even know what organic food was or that it was important to eat nutrition. Like, honestly, nobody ever taught me about nutrition, so I didn't teach my kids about nutrition. So I literally raised them on fast food. And so now they all have this fast food addiction. So the only thing that I can do now, my kids are 19 to 26, is I can choose to lead them by example, and they still do follow my example. They still see what mom does. They can see that I'm actually making the change. And let me say this too. My mom is 69 years old, and she actually was diagnosed with 2 types of cancer and high cholesterol and all sorts of things. She did some study and she changed her diet and she started to teach me about it. So now I have a choice to make. And at 17 and a half, you got a choice to make, right? Like, he's almost a big kid. Does he buy his own groceries? Does he make his own decisions? Does he get sick? You can educate them about being sick, but you can never control your 17 and a half year old and what he's going to put in his mouth. Never could, never will.
Nope.
But you can control the groceries you bring in the house, and you can control what you put in your mouth and how you live your life. Monkey see, monkey do. And I've got adult children now who are like, I'm choosing to eat better, and they're learning about nutrition. Anyway, it'll just fall off, but that's what I'm saying. To take the foot off the gas pedal of judgment with your 17 and a half year old and just let him be who he's going to be, but teach him the life skills of what his choices are actually going to cause for his life. Okay. Yeah, Chelsea said, coming to me to fix their problems and disagreements. How do I validate?
Ooh. First of all, you validate the fact that they came to you. Wow. Now, hang on a second. I sense there's a lot of passion and you're looking to make things right. Do I hear you guys correct? Because they're coming to you to fix their problems or disagreements. So you want to validate that they came to you first rather than, well, I'm going to grab this and and I'm going to grab this and they're going to have a fight. Right? So you validate that it came to you. And then you can start asking questions. Well, tell me, why did you come to me? What is it that you would like to see? Instead of being the quick fix it, ask a lot of questions for deeper understanding. Validate they came to you and say, you know what? Who just made the smartest choice to come to me rather than take the law in your hands?
I love that.
I did. That's right. And moving forward, we have a sacred bond that you're going to be this genius offspring and I'll be your big kid trusted advisor. And even when you leave out of the nest, we will still have this sacred bond all the way until happy transition day. The adults call it death. And now, what would you like to see happen? Oh, can I ask you another question? Before you guys got together on this thing you want to fix out, did anybody put it in writing or have a plan, or did you just kind of wing it? When you ask all kinds of questions, they're going to tell you all the missing, oh, look at that, I bet they even guessed it, life skills that they're asking us to show them so they can prepare to leave out of the nest, because you think these little qualms are going to be magically disappearing or later on. That's what I would do there.
Yeah, I love that. And I remember when I first met you and Zach, oh my gosh, I had 4 kids, age 6 to 12. And oh my God, it was chaos. And I used to be the referee. So Chelsea also has 4 kids. And I remember Zach coming to the office one day going, Jacob hit me. And instead of like getting involved, Tom just asked a simple question. He's like, well, what happened just before that? And then Zach just bout-faced and left, and we never heard from him again. Like, so yes, validate. Okay, cool. What happened just before that? Because you know that Zach was being a little bugger and bugging his brother, and then his brother reacted with hitting. So
you could hear it in the house. You could hear it. It's like Jacob was in his bedroom, and Zach was coming in, and Jacob goes, "Get out of my room," and he would just dig a dig, and he even pre-framed. And by the time that he punched him, I mean, nobody just punches people randomly.
No.
Like, bees don't sting people.
Right.
You earned the punch, Zach. So after about 10 minutes of hearing it, and then he comes up and he's like, and you'd be like, so what was happening before that?
Mhm. And then after that, we just kind of made the kids like responsible. Hey, if you want to bicker, you can bicker out, on the front step, and they'd go outside for 10 seconds. They'd negotiate, figure it out, and come back in and be happy. Like there's so many things you can learn working with us. You wouldn't even believe what the potential is. I want to handle this. My oldest struggles with confidence, trying new things at any time. Yeah. Mom,
Ooh.
mom, you gotta just your job is to encourage them. I believe in you. I believe you can do it, and never, ever, ever come to the rescue. Because here's the thing, every human being has two sides like a battery. We all have victim and we all have victor within us. The champion is the victor, and the champion in your oldest wants to come to life, but there's this little victim side that's kind of like overriding the energy of champion. And the only way to grow confidence as a human being, whether you're 2 or 52 or 72, the only way to grow confidence is to step out of the norm, step out of the comfort zone, persevere through obstacles, struggle like a butterfly breaking out of the cocoon. If you cut a butterfly out of the cocoon, it flops to the ground and it never ever flies. It walks around the earth crippled for its whole life. So you need to let them struggle while just breathing life, believing that they can do it, and then just back off and let them be. Let them cry through it. Let them struggle, whatever it is. Hopefully that helps your question. Okay. So then I asked the question a while ago, who's the older one? Who decided to have children? Who's the leader in your home? And thank you. A bunch of you answered me. And if you've just joined us since I've asked that question, what's your answer? Because it should be, I am. You are the leader in your home. You're the one to create the environment in your home that your child grows in. You can never control your child, you guys. It's a complete illusion. We've been duped. There's something called self-control. Self-control is the essence of life. And the truth of why toddlers have tantrums is because they don't have the language yet to express what they want. They were born with one cry. Harley cries all the time. You saw her crying when she was climbing over the little thing because her little foot got stuck, and she didn't have the words to say, hey, my foot's stuck. So she cries because she can't talk. So a 2-year-old cries. Now, a 5-year-old will cry and scream like mine did when I missed the transition. I missed teaching him the life skills that he needed to learn self-control. He didn't need me to be his self-control. Hopefully, does this make sense? If it makes sense, comment below. Your children are counting on you to show them how the world works. And if I had known at the age of 2 to validate banging, oh, you like to bang. Oh, let me show you where you can bang and when you can bang. Oh, you like to scream. Let me show you where you can scream. I love that scream. Let's go outside and let's scream here. Oh, you love to run around. I love you running around. Let me show you where you can run. Oh, you want to do this. Oh, you want to touch the burner. You want to learn about heat. Let me show you what heat actually feels like. Oh, you want to touch a candle. I see that you want to touch the candle. Let me show you what happens when you touch the candle. We got to stop wrapping our kids in bubble wrap, and we got to start being the leaders that they're counting on us to be. Because I want to continue on with Miguel Ruiz. I always forget his name. But he goes, the real drama begins when I'm a teenager. Anybody here have teenagers? 12 to 18 and beyond? He says, because now it's not only that I'm not good enough for other people, I am no longer good enough for myself. The result is self-rejection. I try to prove my worth to myself by working hard or by rebelling. You see, some kids can only prove their worth by joining a gang.
Because they're validated.
Or by smoking cigarettes in the back field with their friends because
they're validated.
They're validated and they feel cool because they're finally accepted by somebody. It's part of our human nature. So if you get this tonight and you look at your little one, and no matter what they're doing, you validate, ooh, I see that's important to you. Oh, I see you want to swear. Oh, I see you want to I see you throwing flour all over the kitchen. You want to cook like mommy. Where'd you learn to do that?
Now you got to make sure you remember is that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 steps. Validation would be step 1. And when you begin to validate, it opens up the whole sacred relationship of you do see me as a genius that is embracing their own uniqueness. And of course, the how and when comes with time, and that will come later. But if you're not validating them, always telling them no, well, how big has that wedge between you two been getting over the years? Because it's not going to get smaller. You must learn to validate.
So, Rhiannon, my son's breaking into houses and stealing cars, now doing drugs. Awesome. He's choosing to be an adult. Because when can you do all these things? When you're an adult, when you're done with the life skills of learning. Now, there's a part of him, like I just said before I even read your comment, because I have a son that went to choose to go live with his father at the age of 14, and my son ended up on the streets, and he ended up doing drugs as well. So I've been down this path, stealing cars, police chases, and all this. I told my family that within 90 days of coming back to creating Champions for Life, that he would step into his champion self, and nobody believed me. At the age of 17, he came home. And in 63 days, he checked himself into rehab, and he's been clean. I mean, he's had his off nights or whatever, but he's been mostly clean ever since. But this is because we have all 12 principles in place, and it's because we have a plan in place, and we stuck to the plan. We stuck to it and didn't waver.
Like gravity.
We didn't judge him. We accepted him. I always told him, I believe in you and I accept you for whatever you choose. And if this is the life you choose, you're choosing to live it, not here, out there. And when he wanted to come home, it was very specific. You need to check yourself into rehab, because locked up, forced rehab doesn't work with kids, because they'll just get out and go right back because they don't want to be controlled by you. So I want you to really think about this, moms who are dealing with kids who are now getting involved in gangs and doing drugs and smoking in the back and stealing things. They want to be recognized. They're kids. They don't see the world the same way that we do as adults. I want everybody to get this. They just think they're being badass with their group of friends who are accepting them for who they are. That's why tonight's talk is so imperative and so important to actually get. It's got to be, you've got to just let him be him. Let him go to jail. Let him do what he needs to do and love him anyways. I swear to God, I would stake my life on it. They are looking to be accepted and loved for who they are. And you got to trust in God enough. I know you're a Christian. You got to trust enough in the powers that be, that there's a master plan here, that you cannot control it. And this is the test of parents today.
That's right. Jail is a great way to keep your 3 rights alive: food, clothes, and shelter. But I thought you wanted more out of life than just your basic rights. Well, yeah. And see, that would be where the life skills come into play. But if he wants to go to jail versus yell, you got to be able to show him that there's two roads to go. I love you either way.
Yeah.
And I'll show you exactly what you got to do to get into jail.
Here's the thing. We need to put a plan into place and hold the vortex.
True.
We need to do what we need to do as leaders. We've been taught to manage our children's behavior, and it's got us in crisis.
Yep.
It's an old habit that's not serving you, and it's not serving your children. They don't want to be managed and controlled by you. I watched the Columbine documentary on Prime. Angela, I can't remember what it was called. America's Horror, or something like that. Anyways, it's on Prime, and it's about 1989, the Columbine shooter who brought a gun to school and shot like over a dozen of his students, maybe 25 people. And anyways, nobody knows the purpose, but it's so freaking crystal clear. He's got a notebook that's full of hate messages and darkness. And there's one there where he writes Dylan Klebold, and then he scratches it out and he goes, F that. Me, and a big capital M and a big capital E. Like,
What does the long-term effect of no validation in your life turn into?
okay, well,
That's
we've
the example that we're talking about.
yeah, I mean, we're open to talk to anybody here. If you actually need help and you're in crisis, let us know. Either post a comment or reach out to us personally on a Facebook message or under the YouTube video or whatever. I want to get through these comments,
Okay.
and we're already an hour in. So my youngest likes to poke at his sibling's stomach. Awesome.
Wow. Look who loves to play the game called tag.
Yeah.
Now, there might be a missing life skill called asking first, like permission. Does the other person know they're playing tag? But to validate, to poking, like, wow, look at you. You're a really good shot. Are you looking to get her attention with your poking? Because most people like this one instead of this one. But validating the action opens up all the answers if you choose to listen. Next
Mhm.
one.
See, we see it as trying to hurt the sibling, but they're just kids. They have no idea what that actually means
Why do you
in the
think? Why do you
world.
think 2-year-olds bite?
Right,
Because
exactly.
because they can.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, parenting heaven. Love that. Me too. I love parenting heaven. How do you validate a 14-year-old hitting you?
Oh my gosh. Nice shot. Is it my turn? Are we playing punch buggy? I mean, you validate the action.
Can I
It must
say
be
no? Can I say something about that? Because we were just talking about the 6-year-old coming up and saying, Jacob just hit me. And Tom said, well, what happened before that happened? And he turned around and walked out of the room. So I guess I want to validate that that's happening. And I want to ask, what happened before the 14-year-old hit you? Does anything that we shared tonight ring a bell as to why that's an effect to a cause, Nicole? That's the truth. He's hitting because, first of all, he's a kid. He's not an adult, and he might be 14 in his body, but really he's a 2-year-old mentality. And he's hitting because he's exploding inside because somebody's putting him into a box of who they think he should be. Now, you might like what we're talking about, and you might not. And if you don't, you're probably not our tribe, because what we're sharing here tonight are principles. There is no quick fix to this crisis that's going on. You're not the only one. Kids from 2 to 17 are beating their families, beating their parents, killing their parents, shooting their grandparents, bringing guns to school, killing themselves, doing drugs, living on the streets. It's happening. So what we're talking about is validating and accepting who they are so that this doesn't happen. So the hitting is an effect to a cause. Now, hitting
True.
is assault. If somebody hits somebody, you call 911. And that's the truth. But what we're going to ask you to do, if you call 911, is now let's heal us inside so that when the kid comes home, we can actually learn how to create an empowering environment so he doesn't feel so angry inside. I hope that helps somebody. Okay. Seeing the world through kid eye. Mine says he hates me and I'm the worst mom so many times a day.
You got years of training to make that manifest. You might want to start to validate is what is it that maybe I am doing that I don't even know that I don't even know. And I'll give you a hint. Bribing, overcompensating, and dictating will be one of the 3 categories that's happening.
Yeah, kind of
Next
just
one.
answered that as well with my whole putting a kid into a box of who they should be, and I kind of answered it earlier in the presentation as well with the
And once
what Don
again,
Miguel
like we
said.
said very clearly, get the app, listen to that audio book, Raising Healthy, Happy, Cooperative Kids, and you will find every single answer to everything of why. Because it's all written out in the history. It was planned, orchestrated, and it was followed through. And if you can wrap your head around this, you go, well, maybe there is some truth to this. Where did we learn that the mother's self-worth was how much they did for their child past the age of 2, which violates the whole code? You stop doing for them at the age of 2, but you were taught to do for them based on your self-worth. And look what it's been creating. You got to go learn your history of how you got here, and you'll go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. All these light bulbs will go off and go, wow, I didn't even know I didn't even know. So I'll make it crystal clear. Hammer, hand, you're my doctor. Hey, doc, my hand hurts. What do I do? Type it in. I'll keep smacking it until someone says, stop doing that.
There's a delay in the comments. You might be doing that for a while.
Probably. Oh, stop. Oh my God, you're a genius. I never thought to stop doing what was causing it. I didn't even know.
Yeah, we got to stop doing what's causing our kids to become angry, because there's nothing you can do to say stop hitting me. Okay.
Any more before you wrap up?
Yeah, Nicole, you're exactly right. We need to plan properly, and like, what's in it for me radio station, which is a whole other talk. And yes, Tom does tell it how it is. All right, the non-negotiables. Okay. Apology, asking permission to start over. Did my mother raise me on fast food? Of course she did. She raised me on fast food, and I raised my kids on fast food. And now it's 2024 and everybody's got autoimmune diseases. And so you're going to have to actually learn what the cause of that is. So now we're going back to the basics, right?
Well, that's true. I mean, anybody can put gravel and water in your tank of your car to make the thing go full, but how's it going to run? You got to think.
Validating sometimes does anger them. How could we change that aspect? I'd need a little more context, and maybe we need a little more practice validating. Come join one of our mentorship programs.
Well, yeah, you're not validating.
Yeah.
You might think it's validating.
Yeah.
It's kind of like I thought I was helping.
It's kind of like the whole goal thing, because people start working our mentorship programs and we teach them about goals, like the kid has to have goals, and then the parents start using their kids' goals to manipulate them to do what they want them to do. And then when the kid has a temper tantrum, the parents are going, why? And it's because of this. Our conscious mind says, oh, goals, cool. Our subconscious mind has been trained to punish inappropriate behavior. Yes? Does this ring a bell?
And
you have been conditioned to discipline and punish and correct a child's inappropriate behavior. And this is something that we work on with you in our mentorship programs, because it's the habits of our subconscious mind that must actually begin to transform before the logical mind can understand this whole validation thing.
That's true. And on the flip side of the coin of it, that's the dictation part. The bribing part of it is that they have a goal, so you actually get it for them without it being authentically something they earn on their own. And it comes with strings attached. No matter what side you're on, I'm telling you, is that you've been taught to do this against our little genius offspring's promise. And when you can understand the history of how you got in there, then you can go, oh, thank God I found it now. Reactive or proactive? The root word is still, I want to validate that you're active with your kids. You didn't throw the abort and neglect, but you've been taught to react. We're the first and only program out there that's going to help you be proactive. And when you have it proactive, everything just works as Mother Nature already intended. It's a whole new language that you will have to learn. And the best way I can explain it to you now would be learn Spanish if you speak English. And there's not one way you can convince me that Spanish doesn't work. Maybe you're not working the Spanish. And that's how simple it really is. Not romantic, but it's the truth.
And I'm going to wrap up with this. I am searching. So this is your kid speaking to you right now. And he or she is saying, I am searching for appreciation, for acceptance, for love, not knowing that it's just a story. That's really powerful right there. They're trying to be perfect. I'm going to cry because your kid's trying to be perfect. They're not perfect and they're beating themselves up inside. Literally, they feel unworthy. And most of our children today have no purpose for even being alive because their parents have done everything for them and given them everything and then follow them around correcting them and then trying to get them to be a certain way. So anyways, I hope you get this tonight. I encourage you to reach out to us. If you're in crisis, we teach you principles that will fix the crisis, but you got to be willing to step into your power. And sometimes it takes a long time to build the worthiness inside of you to give you the confidence to do what you need to do, which is not easy. Parenting is not easy. I don't think anyone ever said parenting is not easy. And actually last Monday I played a song for my mentorship group. I was like, we never promised you a rose garden. You know, if we're going to have sunshine, it's going to rain sometimes. But what we can do is we can give you the tools to put your king or queen crown on. And we can give you the encouragement to step into your power, to do what you need to do for the life sake of your children.
That's right.
So with all that being said,
walk away with this last question for
Okay.
yourself, and then we'll wrap up.
okay,
Do I have the courage to question anything and everything that I think I know about parenting could be wrong for my kid's future? Not to question it like it was mischievous, but to question it for deeper understanding. Do I have the courage to at least question it and see it from a new perspective? Because if the answer is yes, then click here and be our guest. If the answer is no, then I give you the best of luck. And it was nice to know you before you go.
and clicking here just says help in a direct message or something if you don't want to post a comment under the video, or post a comment under the video and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. So with all that being said, thank you so much for being here, for being a part of our community, for being a parent who's willing to actually
draw a line in the sand and said, hell no, I won't go. I don't know. It's got to go.
Fight for your kids, fight for your family, because I promise you this, if the doctors don't know how to help you, we can't bring our kids to the doctors and ask them what to do, because the only thing they're going to do is prescribe medication towards their soon upcoming $26.3 billion industry. All right.
And until we meet again,
here's
to our
parenting success.
Cheers.
Have a good night, everybody.
Bye for now.